Hey. So, I was hoping to film my Ginger Brockhampton review tonight, but then I had a little bit of an episode, you could call it, a little bit of a mental breakdown, and, you know, got real mad, punched some stuff, not people, you know, just like white boy wall punching. Then got real sad and anxious, and now I'm tired and eating peanut butter out of a jar, and I thought, you know what better time to film a Brockhampton review than post mental breakdown. For the record, I'm fine. I have mental illness, but I have been handling it for years, so it's all good. Skippy's natural peanut butter, creamy and with honey, is the best peanut butter you will ever eat, period. I also have some like Nutella residue because I like to, you know, get half a spoonful of peanut butter, half a spoonful of Nutella, and it's like a creamy Reese's. It's delicious. But anyways, Ginger by Brockhampton, the long-awaited summer album, is here, and I have listened to it. I consider myself a bit of an OG stan. I've been around since the early Saturation era. I remember I was had a lot of friends who liked them, but I was pretty skeptical about them for a while. I don't know why. I just wasn't really into it. And then there was one day when I just binged all their music videos, and I absolutely fell in love with them. And I've been a huge fan ever since. I went to their first tour, Love Your Parents tour. There's my ticket that I have saved. That was when Amir was still there. So, not that we want to glorify him in any way for his bad choices, and not that we want to bring him up because, you know, it's kind of a sad thing that Brockhampton had to go through. But I think just historically speaking, I think it's interesting that I was able to see a concert that had Amir in it. You know, not that I'm like, yay, got to see him before he was gone. It's just, that's something that's never gonna happen again, and I find it interesting that I was able to experience that. And I was, you know, enjoying them and happy to enjoy them before the news of all the crap, the drama, the shit hit the fan. So anyways, I was really excited about this. When Iridescent came out, I was like worried, like a lot of people, and I know a lot of my fellow stans were not big fans of Iridescent. I, however, loved it. I thought that, you know, they were, with every album they were making, they were continuing to get better and better, and I felt like Iridescent definitely fit into that. And a lot of people weren't that happy with it, but because, you know, it wasn't as like fun and hardcore as the other albums were, but it was very genuine because, you know, that was at a time when they were going through like a lot of pain, a lot of redos and self-reflection, and I think that showed in the album a lot, and I was able to enjoy it a lot. And I think it was Honey. There was one song that made me cry every single time, and it wasn't Tanya. It wasn't like a super sad song, so I really don't know why I would cry every time I was listening to it. I think it just like, it was like alluding to old Brockhampton, old, you know, Saturation era, in a way that was like, you know, we loved it, we admire it, but we're not there anymore, we're not that anymore. And so it was like a bittersweet cry. I enjoyed it. So anyways, this is not an Iridescent review, this is a Ginger review. Iridescent is great though. Gave Ginger a full listen. I avoided all the singles before the full album came out because I wanted to just hear it all in one go. And a lot of people that I've asked about said that they found it underwhelming or uninteresting. which I understand, but I don't know if I fully agree with. I don't know, I definitely really enjoyed this album. And I think the problem with it is that, you know, with Iridescent especially, but most of their albums, they have a huge like ebb and flow in terms of tone. So, you know, they're like really up, really hardcore in one song, and then we like it's sad, Bareface comes on and sings a little sad song, and we have that. And I think with this album, I feel like they definitely hit the highs and lows, but not as high and as low. And I think they definitely kept it more on the low side. So, you know, you weren't getting songs like Star and Bump and stuff like that, where it's like really, you know, punch you in the face. And Face, like the song Face. And I love that about Brockhampton. Many fans love that about Brockhampton. And I don't think we got that with this album, but I don't think that means it was bad, it was, you know, not a good album. I think it just, for me, shows that they're changing. And, you know, people don't always like change, people don't always like evolution, but no matter whether you like the change or not, I think it's better than not changing. You know, if they, you know, when Brockhampton first started, they were this like, you know, it was this revolutionary thing. It was this like cultural, you know, Gen Z avant teens just exploded, and were following them and loving them, and they were like underground and like grinding, and just they had all these stories of like growing up and living their life they were living. And, you know, all the drama with Amir happens, and then, you know, we had Iridescent, which was like the recovery album, and now it's like we're in a new chapter now. You know, it's not Kevin Abstract, a huge cultural icon still for sure, but it's like he's not what he was, and that's not a bad thing. It's like he's a celebrity now. You know, he's rich, he's a celebrity, he's well off, he lives a life in LA, and like that's different from the kind of stuff you're gonna get when he's like talking about his growing up in Texas. Which, shout out to the Woodlands. I have friends there. I live in Texas, don't know if I ever mentioned that enough. Peanut butter's so good, y'all. This is a huge white people food, but it's still so good. But the one thing Brockhampton has always got right is the production. You know, it always sounds so good, and they're always coming up with interesting sounds. Like, you can't deny that. Like, listening to this album, if you're like, it was underwhelming, I wasn't really into it, I wasn't like feeling the story, you know, the tone, whatever. But like, you know, Kevin Abstract himself said, like, this is a summer album, and, you know, it's not gonna be this hardcore hip-hop. I'm sure, like, with their next album that they come out with, that's probably where they're gonna be leaning towards, but, you know, if we're looking at this in a whole discography kind of way, like, this is definitely an important piece of that. So it's like, okay, maybe I didn't enjoy it as much. There were a few parts that were like, I don't want to say uninteresting, but it's like I wasn't like totally enthralled with as I was with other parts of other albums. But, you know, songs like, I think also starting the album off with No Halo might have been like I don't know, not the best choice, because I don't know if it's like the strongest song. I think it's always good to like really, Brockhampton usually, their formula, in my opinion, is like, you know, we start out with something like really strong, and then we ebb and flow tonally throughout the album, and then the last one's kind of sad and like, which is good, and that's what they did here. But I think, you know, starting out with No Halo, it wasn't like, it was high energy, but it wasn't like the Brockhampton high energy we're used to, which was kind of like, But, you know, you get songs like Dearly Departed and Boy Bye, and it's like, those are incredible. Like, listening to it, it's like, this is so good. Like, these people are talented. That's just a fact. Like, it's still these people are talented and they're proving it over and over and over again. And I don't think that people's disappointment with this album is that, you know, it's not good songs. It's like, it's more like, oh, it's not Brockhampton. But it's like, well, you know, what is Brockhampton? They're forever changing, and they're a collective of people, so it's not just one identity. It's a collection of identities, and those are each changing. And I don't know, I still feel in everything they do, they are bringing the passion, they're bringing the care, you know, they're writing lyrics that are genuine and from the heart and are relatable, and not like hashtag relatable, but like, you know, they kind of, a lot of their lyrics, like, they kind of just like throw out like, oh, here's what I'm dealing with, and blah, blah, blah. And I think it's interesting because it's not like, oh, this artistic dive into it. It's kind of just like, this is life. And I don't mean that as like they're being lazy, because there are a lot of like dives into stuff they do in other songs, but you know what I mean. You know how the lyrics be. And Ginger is also a great song. Named the album after it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite one. I definitely think Boy Bye is my favorite song, but I don't know, I've been rambling too long about Brockhampton. I love them. I'm a huge fan. I definitely think this album was the weakest of their albums, but like, that's not really saying much because of how strong their other albums are. So it's like, you know, everyone in their career is gonna have some albums that are like, it's alright. And that's not a bad thing, and I don't even want to consider this one like a meh, it's alright, because I did enjoy a lot of it, and you know, there was a lot of really interesting sounds. They played with new sounds, and I can't remember which song it was off the top of my head, but there was one where Dom was very like, I felt like he was doing a new voice, a new flow, giving new energy, a new tone. And not that he doesn't have variety, but I've always said like Dom is very much like an overlooked member. He's always, I feel like he carries a lot of songs. Like he's definitely like an integral part, but he's never really acknowledged, he's never really highlighted in a song. And I feel like that happened a lot more in this album. So I really love that. I'm a big Dom fan, he's great. I still don't have my mic set up, so gotta get close for you to get those ASMR tingles. So yeah, all that being said, like, I understand everyone's criticism of it being like underwhelming or uninteresting. I just don't necessarily agree. Like, I get what they're saying. It's more toned down. It's less, you know, Brockhampton, but it's still Brockhampton and it's still good. And I'm still gonna buy all their merch and all the vinyl pressings that they release and go to all the concerts, because I love them. I've always loved them. I still love them. I think they're amazing people. I think we're lucky, you know, as Gen Zers, to have them. I think they're a huge representation of our generation, of where hip-hop's going, and more power to them. I'm proud of them. This was a good album. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. I'm not gonna say it was any, you know, saturation 2, but it was still really good. So I've rambled enough. I'm giving Ginger a 7 out of 10. Kevin Abstract, I love you. Every member I love. Like, they're incredible people. Probably because they're all from Texas. But yeah, we're lucky to have them. And as a hip-hop fan, I'm very, very happy to call myself a fan of Brockhampton. So thank you, Brockhampton, for all that you do. Keep doing it. Keep eating your Skippy's peanut butter. And go to their tours. Because that's what I did. That's all I have to say. Oh, anyone who watched my last King Gizzard video, I might see them in concert in Dallas. It was a lot of money, but I would like to. That's irrelevant. Didn't need to be said, but if you want to Venmo me so I can get tickets, go right ahead. Just kidding, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna beg for money. Unless. I'm just kidding. I'm done. I'll stop. Bye. I just realized my shirt said